Greetings everyone, welcome to Just Advance. This game was played in Title Tuesday that happened yesterday, and with the white pieces we have Daniel Naroditsky. Daniel Naroditsky had a spectacular start with Title Tuesday. He won in 4 rounds that happened there, and now he's facing Magnus Carlsen. It's never that easy. So here with the white pieces now just going for e4, we have c5, knight to c3, just going for e6. This is the close Sicilian. Here just comes knight to f3, French variation, but just a6, and now just comes d4. We have c captures, knight captures, and immediately going for b5. This is the Khan variation of Sicilian. We have bishop to d3, bishop to b7, and if you're asking, does f4 work? Could you go for an attack immediately, even just keep the castling option hanging? Well, the thing is that if you go for f4, then just come bishop to c5, and you can already see there's some trouble brewing here. If you go for knight to b3, attacking the bishop, bishop to b6, and after queen to e2 in this position, now you just go knight to e7, and you cannot castle here. You have to just develop the bishop, so bishop to e3, but after bishop captures, queen captures, you just castle, and most likely either you castle queen side with all of this, allowing this, which looks very, very scary, or you can just castle king side with your king side being a little bit open, with your king being a little bit weak, and maybe you could just make these decisions right away, but I don't think Magnus would not really punish you. So here after bishop to b7, just castles was played, not going for anything crazy. We have knight to c6, knight captures, and here just bishop captures. We have rook to e1, bishop to c5, and now just going for bishop to e3, asking for a trade, and here Magnus obliges. Magnus goes for bishop captures, rook captures by Daniel, and here just going for knight to e7, and here queen to h5, immediately just jumping into the attack. Here just knight to g6, and just rook to d1, and h6 now, just trying to make some breathing room for the king. When to castle, here rook to g3, but now just comes queen to f6, defending against all exchange sacrifices. And the thing is that here, I mean, I know they are not going to blunder this, but still, do you think e5 works? Well, e5 would have worked only and only if you capture with the queen. If you capture with the knight, then the position is absolutely fine. Then maybe you go knight to e4, attacking the queen. You're gonna have to sack the bishop, exchange the bishop. So here after bishop captures, still black is the one who's in the driver's seat, and most likely here Magnus is gonna convert this to a win. But if you go for queen captures on e5, what happens then? But the trouble is that here comes bishop captures on g6, and now you cannot trade. If you trade, then just bishop captures. I've just captured your piece, and I'm just a complete piece up. So there is nothing you can do. And if you just go for f captures, then you just hang a complete queen, and your position just completely collapses. Obviously, these are top grandmasters; they're not going to blunder this. So that's why Daniel didn't even go for this. But I just like to show you. So here, just rook to e1. Now just comes queen to e5, but now just comes queen captures, knight captures, and now finally going for that f4 thrust that we were talking about. But just knight captures on d3, and we have c captures, and you can see that Daniel has a really nice center. And the thing is that his king is still stuck in the center. What do you do? Do you castle in this position? If you go for immediate castling, then just comes f5. And after ef, you play rook a to e8. And the thing is that you cannot go for a move like king to f2, because your position just becomes really bad, and you also maybe just lose a couple of pawns as well. Your pawn structure is not that good. You are 3 pawn islands, where black is also 3 pawn islands, but black has a bishop, and in open position, bishop is a much better piece than a knight, and your knight is not that much. So here, if you go for rook g to e3, doubling up, now you play rook captures, you control the entire file, and most likely here this game should end in a draw with perfect play. But here c captures on d3, and rook to g8 was played, not castling, but now just comes d4, and this is trying to get, this is just starting to get a little bit crazy for Magnus. Should he just pull the brakes, and should he try to go for a draw? But here just comes b4, and now what do you do in this position? Here knight to d5. Knight to d5 is a beautiful move. I'm saying to Magnus that, you want to capture it, well, just go ahead, because if you capture e caps on d5, then just comes e caps on d5. That opens up an attack towards the king, so your king needs to move king to d8, but now just comes d caps on c6. And what do you do in this position after d captures? Here rook g to e3, and I'm doubling up here towards the e file. You cannot even play this. Your rooks are not connected. My rook is getting inside your position. This is definitely a position that Magnus would absolutely hate to play. And here after knight to d5, none of this was played. Here rook to b8 was played, but rook to b8 just completely blunders the game. So I'm going to ask you to pause the video and try and find out the only winning move which allows you to beat the absolute legend of chess, 5-time world champion Magnus Carlsen. So have at it. So congratulations to everyone who's able to find this move. The move is knight to f6 check, and Magnus completely blunders this move, and now he's in a lot of trouble, because here king to f8 was played, but now just comes knight captures, king captures, and you are in exchange down. Maybe you can try to do something, but you forgot about the thing, which is you gave the entire center to Daniel, and now he's gonna convert this very easily. Here rook to d3 was played, but now just comes a5, trying to cement your position, but it's just not gonna help. Here d5 now, e captures, attacking the bishop moves, attacking the rook, but just rook d to d1, g6. Now king to f2, king to g7, and g4 was played, but Magnus is not surviving this. King to f6, here just rook to c1, a4, and rook to e4 was tried. b3 now, but just a captures, and here if you try to go for a captures here, the trouble is here rook to b4, and after d6 now just comes this rook to a1, and the trouble is you're just not surviving this. I mean, this is coming, either you just drop the piece, and if you try to go for rook to b7 here, after rook to a5, bishop to c6, you play rook captures, bishop captures, rook to b5, you're just losing the pawn next, and there is nothing you can do. The endgame is completely winning for Daniel. So here after a captures by Daniel, bishop to d3 was played, attacking the rook, but now just comes rook to e3, and now what do you do here? Rook captures was tried, but king to g3, bishop to c4, and now if you trade rook captures, bishop captures, maybe Magnus thinks he has enough chances, but Engine disagrees with him. Here rook to c5 was played, but now just comes king to e7, king to f2, and king to d6, but now just comes this rook to a5. We have finally h5 trying to play on the other side of the board, but it just does not help. G captures was played, and now king to e3, and it was on this move, on just move 29, that Magnus Carlsen resigned the game, and Daniel got this spectacular start. He got 4 out of 4, and I think this was the second or the third game, but still, I mean, spectacular start by him. He got like a 4.5 out of 5, so definitely he had the chances to win the entire thing, but yeah, he could not convert. I think he lost 2 chances to do that, and his just momentum just completely crumbled afterwards. But still, amazing play by him. Kudos to him for beating Magnus and playing spectacular chess. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I'll be coming back with such amazing games, so stay tuned to the channel, stay updated, and I'll be seeing you guys very soon. Thank you very much for watching.